Okay, that's good. All right, so I made myself a slab. I can use a rolling pin, whatever. And I want a 3-inch diameter base. So I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to use the center of the slab because that's usually the most even. And I'm going to mark 0 and 3 and what is half. Man, this ruler is so hard to read. Half of 1 and 3, or 0 and 3 is 1 1/2. So I'm going to mark that point. Now I'm going to turn my ruler and I'm going to keep that center point that I made at 1 1/2. Oh my gosh, why is it that I cannot see where 1 1/2 is on this ruler? Is this one? Okay. It's this. Okay. And I'll put that line right there and mark 1 and 3 again. And I'm going to keep turning this as many different ways that I need to in order to plot enough points to be able to draw out a decent circle. I do want it to be circular. It doesn't need to be the most perfect circle ever, but opposed to the form of your choice, you are going to need to be specific with this one. So I'm just going to use, I'm just using this pen just to kind of trace this out. So I've traced out what this circle would be. And I'm just going to cut it out. So it definitely has a very small base. And I'm going to make sure this looks nice and refined. For some of you that are like, wow, I made that other one and it's really hard for me to sign my name to it. Right now, I could even just go and sign my name really quick and put that right back over. So I know I have it signed. All right, so I have a bunch of coils. I know that my first coil is going to be really kind of straight up. So I'm going to put my first coil on top of the base. I'm going to break that off. I actually want to try and kind of keep this even as I go. And I'm blending the sides in here. All right, so I need to go really narrow. I need to go to 1.6. All right. So I'm going to take my next coil, and to move this in, I'm going to put it on the interior edge of the coil underneath. Some of you did not do any shaping in your last coil, the coil pot of your choice, or very little. For this, you're going to need to understand where to put the next coil in order to get things wider or to get things narrower. So if I look at this now, this opening is about 1.5 or so, so that's pretty good. And my estimation was that it needed to be about 1 inch in height. And I said, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. It's about 2. Really, it's about 2 inches. It should be fine. I'm going to blend this in. And I'm going to refine this and make this look a lot nicer, but I'm just not going to do that right now. My goal is to make it stable right now. If I start building directly on here, which is what I plan to do, I'm going to start building right on top here and building up and out. If I don't really support underneath this coil here, it'll cause it to slump and break. So for this style of form, what you want to make sure you do is take a coil and I'm pushing it underneath and filling in the space underneath this coil. So if I stack on top of here, I don't want nothing on top of this or underneath it, I apologize. I want it to be structurally sound for me to build that. So I'm going to make sure that this whole area from here to here is packed with clay. And I am making sure that I'm pushing this clay in pretty well. What I don't want is there any random spaces in between. So there's random air pockets within that, which will cause it to blow up in the kiln, without a doubt. Huh? Oh, with like the pinch pots? Oh yeah. Yeah, without a doubt, I'm going to. If I don't, all of them are going to blow up. I did put my finished first coil pot on a cart in the kiln room, and when you guys are complete with that form, it can go on a cart in the kiln room. So I am just going to refine this. Now again, there is no way that I'm going, well, I can, it's just going to take a lot of time to make this kind of step transition here. I can do that. Most of the time how I'll do that is I'll kind of use the wheel, the pottery wheel to do it, and I'll do a technique of how to get that kind of line work in. But it's not necessary. This is not, at some point you have to kind of alter a little bit of that base of the Greek vessel form in order to make it work. It's just tricky. So this now should not be an issue for any of you, right? Should all know how to start the base, particularly if you have something that goes wide, goes very narrow, very quick, and then goes up from that point. If you do not fill in underneath, I guarantee you the entire form will collapse probably once you get to about here. And you're starting right over again. So please take my advice with that. And it shouldn't be a deterrent by what form you choose either, because again, this is an easy way to resolve the issue. So you shouldn't be searching for a form that doesn't have it just because you don't want to do it. If you like the other types of forms, that's a whole nother thing, but this will be successful because of this style of change in building. So from this point forward, I know I have to start going up. I know that I'm going to start expanding out, but I'm not going to be expanding out very quickly. I have an estimation of about 5 to 6 inches in height up. I'm sorry, about 3 inches up, I should be about 3 inches wide. Now, again, because my base has changed, I know that that's going to be a little bit higher now. Because my base right now is, I didn't do that bad, it's about 1.5 inches. So I'm about 1/2 inch higher than I should be because my base took up a little bit more room than I wanted. So I might then estimate that at 3.5 inches up, I'm at 3 inches across. Again, I'm not going up to these with a ruler, but your goal is that it looks like the form.